We're live.
Ding.
I think we should be more glamorous with this show.
Well, I think we're pretty glamorous. I don't know. I mean, what more could the people? What more could we give in terms of glamour? What were you thinking?
Well, you know, maybe how about that?
Well, that's got some glamour. That's pretty cool. That's got some definite. I feel like I just took the red pill.
Well, you know what?
Yes.
What kind of lighting are you doing in your apartment there?
Mostly electric.
I mean, like in your face?
Oh.
Fire, huh? You have the fire?
Yeah. You know, I do actually still have glow sticks from my raving days around here somewhere. Well, I'm saving those now. Now those have become civil defense emergency equipment. Yeah, I just shine crap in my face pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, me too. So it's kind of you know, I'm always annoyed when I'm doing this. Slightly.
I've noticed that you're always annoyed when we do this.
Slightly annoyed because I think I'm right in my eyeballs. So you know, why not wear sunglasses, right? I think I thought I had another pair, but this will do.
It's like the Blues Brothers said, when you're cool, the sun shines 24 hours a day.
Did they actually say that?
Yeah. That's actually when that scene where they're getting hit by the nun with the ruler.
So hey, yo, that's a great scene. I was reenacting that scene. Oh yeah, when I said fuck. When did I say fuck? Somewhere.
I don't believe that you would ever say fuck.
My niece hit me.
Yeah, I'm sure you deserved it. Well, what for? Oh, for saying that word.
Saying that word. And
well,
then,
she was well raised. Good kid. Good kid, well raised.
Well, I told her, oh, you should hit me because I said the bad word.
Yeah.
She did.
You be careful with kids as well, man. You give them a free pass to hit you, and you know kids are smart. You know they get enough credit. They'll go and get a bat and they'll go straight for the nuts. They don't mess around. Cartoon slaps.
Hey, I'm talking about the Charlotte today. I thought Charlotte was on.
No, it was me. That was me. I'm sorry. So, yes, I confirmed last week we're getting Charlotte on, and there was a possibility of this week, but she followed up later and said, this week's no good, but the 18th, she can do the 18th. And I said, great. And then I did nothing. I didn't tell anyone until today. And I realized everyone would say, oh, Charlotte's going to be on. And I realized, oh, I forgot to tell everyone that Charlotte's not coming on for a bit. So sorry about that. But she's coming on. Well, which reminds me as well, one thing we will definitely be talking about when she comes on is the Hanami, of course, coming up, which is not going to be far away. It's the start of April, so
4th, right?
2 months. The clock is counting down. It's only going to be 1.5 months there.
Coming up. Let's see the comment section. Oh yeah. Mandy's here. Mandy is a new girl, a new YouTuber. She lives in Yokosuka.
Yeah.
And she bought a dog. She came down to Nagoya to the dog fair last Sunday and picked up a dog.
Oh, yeah?
Picked up a poop.
Yeah. The dog was reacting to the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, as I would myself if I were a dog.
How do you know that? She put up a video?
No. I tweeted something about that. I was just listening to Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, and she said, when I play that, my dog goes crazy.
Oh, she wrote that, I see. Really?
Yeah.
It's good. I have to check out the soundtrack. I don't know that one. Okay.
It's a good soundtrack, actually. You've seen that movie, right?
Yeah, of course. Great movie. Really.
Yeah. But it's a great soundtrack. So I was thinking, and part of the reason I was listening to this, see, this all links together, the magic is about to hit you, is because Tikyo Sam, who, again, deserves credit for taking the initiative, setting the date, and running the Facebook page, and he's actually doing a poll on what people want to do for the after party, whether we want to go to a bar or karaoke or...
Already setting it up, I hear.
Sorry?
He found a great place to set it up.
Oh, really? You found a place already? Oh, you mean for the Hanami itself or for the...
For the Hanami.
Oh, you got roaming guys.
No, the Hanami and for the after party as well.
Yeah. Well, so the after party...
Ryman Gaijin hat, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute, I got one of those.
What is? Ryman Gaijin. I just want to try black friends,
Yeah. Which reminds me, actually, I asked him when we're getting him on.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay. I'm gonna say this now because I've been in touch with him. He's been busy. You know, that guy's got an MBA. He's a smart guy. And you know, I told him we want to get you on YouTube. I want to get you on a show. And he said, "Yeah, I'll get back to you." So Rhyming Gaijin, look.
That's a Japanese answer. That means no.
Feel the love. Come on, you have to come on. I mean, come on. So Rhyming Gaijin, this is how we troll you through pressuring you with merchandise to come on the show.
Hey, what would your impression be if you just saw me for the first time on YouTube and this was my getup?
I'd say you've got excellent taste in music, but you probably can't see.
You know, when I wear this, people think it's Walter White. That looks like Walter White from the Breaking Bad show.
Oh yeah.
They don't get it even when I explain it. He goes, so I explain the whole thing, and then they say, why is it Walter White? It's not Walter White.
Hey, we were Walter White before Walter White was Walter White, okay?
He was okay.
Yes.
I was gonna reference a color that is before white, but I guess that's the base colors.
But anyway, focus back. What I was talking about before is, so it looks like, according to the poll, karaoke looks like one of the big popular choices, and we did it last year, and it was fun, and it went really well. So I was thinking, I got to dust off the A track, and find some tunes to impress the masses with when we inevitably go out for the karaoke that night after the Hanami. Right. So hence I was listening to Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, which resulted in Mandy's dog becoming very startled. And that's how the story ends.
We had this conversation with Mandy on Sunday night?
I don't remember. It might have been in a dream. It could have all been in my imagination. Who knows?
She came down with her boyfriend, I think I could say that, and they bought a dog.
Yeah.
And they told me some really interesting information. He works for the NCIS.
All right. By the way, I just want to clarify something. In the comments, I see there is actually a commenter called Tokyo Dog with a dog avatar, but just to be absolutely clear, that is not Mandy Murray's actual dog. The dog is not from Tokyo, and in any case, it would be very difficult for the dog to type because they don't have opposing thumbs. I'm sorry, please continue.
Yes. Thank you for clearing that up.
The people want to know.
Charlie Nosekatsu's here. Good to see you. Did we congratulate Robert 1967 on his marriage already?
Oh, well, I'm pretty sure we did, but we can always, congratulate him some more.
How's married life treating you? It's already hell, isn't it? Just kidding. Sean Brogue got a couple of T-shirts of ours. I've seen them. Hey, if you've gotten T-shirts, Tokyo Today T-shirts or Tokyo Tonight T-shirts, or
Braska Ferrian, I've got to sort out setting another shirt out, which I didn't do for a while.
If you got a T-shirt, take a picture of yourself and send it to us. We'd like to put it in the videos. Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
That'd be cool. If you've got your own T-shirt, please send a picture of yourself wearing it.
And that includes
if you're a hot chick. No offense to all the not hot guys or a hot guy.
Well, no, I think so. It works like this. You can send us the picture if you've got the 2.5 Oyajis shirt or the Tokyo Taro or any the Zenzen Wakarimasen shirt, and if you're a hot,
in the back
and if you are a lady who is of a hot nature, frankly, you don't even need to have one of our shirts.
Yes. If you're a lady, you can just send us any pictures you want.
Go crazy.
But what are we talking? Tokyo Dog, right? Okay.
Yes, Tokyo Dog. Sorry, it was not the dog, but NCICS, CSI, CIA.
Oh, Robert married a Canadian, an American. So she's separated while they're doing the paperwork, I guess. Is she American? She's American, right, Robert? I thought she was Canadian. I didn't realize that.
What? I'm sorry. What's the difference?
Canadians are nicer. American girls put out more.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, that'll be interesting for when we get Charlotte on.
Unless you marry him, and then the fountain ends.
We'll test this out. By the way, I got another random shout out. I'm just going to keep doing this all night. I'm not going to let you finish a complete sentence.
Okay, that's all right. That's the other way around, but okay.
Texan in Tokyo has been doing an awesome job with getting her fantastic comic strips out there. Gaijin Pot, which includes friend of the show, Anthony Joe, who we are also going to get back on the show soon.
Wait a minute. He's from Gaijin Pot?
He's a guy who runs with Gaijin Pot. He is the brains behind the machine.
We had him on the show, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We're going to get him back on. He's doing an awesome job with Gaijinpot. But anyway, yeah, Gaijinpot's been running not only her comic strips, but also her blogs lately. And she's been doing some really, really cool blogs. So she's kicking ass at the moment, is text into you.
She's been chilling with Rachel from Rachel and June.
It's all interconnected, man. It's a conspiracy.
All connected, yeah.
So NCIC.
Yes,
yes.
So there's a guy in Tokyo, and I'm sorry, Yokosuka, who works for NCIC, and he told me that they keep track of all the Muslims in Japan.
Question: does that include Lucas Musser?
Is he Muslim?
I don't know, but I was just told by Raz Al Ghul to shout him out, so I did that. I don't know, and I think he's in the Philippines and he's not Muslim, so would they still be tracking him?
Is he in the Philippines?
Yeah, lives in the Philippines. It's famous. Everyone knows.
Oh, right. Lucas. Okay, sorry. There's a couple people in the Philippines, so I always get confused.
Yeah.
Which is which? Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So I thought that was interesting. They're actually the United States military is actually tracking Muslims in Japan, just to keep an eye on them, you know.
But just to be clear, they're not tracking all of them. Surely they're tracking some, or they're targeting.
No, it's not too hard because there are only 40,000.
Which, come think of it, that puts them at about the same number as Caucasians, you know, Westerners. Actually, not Caucasians. That's incorrect.
50,000.
Oh, okay.
I imagine there must be close to a couple, 200,000 or so Caucasians.
Actually, well, but I wonder about that. Actually, 200,000. No, I absolutely believe there were not. If you say Caucasians, I believe it would actually be less than the number of. It'd be less than 50,000, I think.
Well, there are 50,000 Americans alone, and most of them are.
Well, I don't think most of them are.
Americans?
Well, of the Americans, I mean, what? I'm guessing what you go by national population, it says that you got about probably 60% Caucasian, maybe 50-something%. Not 80 or 90. I mean, you think of how many Asian Americans, how many. Really you count Latinos, I guess, but.
No, because Asians, I bet you there's a low number of Asians because they don't need. A lot of people join the military to get through college. They need the boost, the money.
Yeah.
Probably white trash mostly.
But I seriously doubt there's more than 100,000 Caucasians in Japan.
Really?
I put money on that. Although I don't. It's kind of funny. Everyone points out how how much racism there is here or whatever. But the thing is, the statistics, they track nationality, don't they? I don't think they actually track ethnicity. Like I don't know if there are statistics in Japan that actually track that, which makes sense to me. I mean, if I meet.
Okay, I bet you this. I bet you that all the white people in Japan weigh more than all the Muslims in Japan.
You bet that. I take personal ethnic offense against that, but. At the same time, I can't really argue strongly against it. So why are they tracking all the Muslims in Japan? I mean, seriously, they're something like my grandparents.
Just making sure that they're not doing anything, nuts. And he says, I asked him. He said, basically, there's only one guy that they're worried about, and he's not getting any traction. There's one guy trying to create.
So there's one guy that they're worried about. So they're tracking 40,000 just to make sure.
Because it's America.
What about the Presbyterians? Because they really also worry me, actually, as a group. I had some friends at high school. I had a Presbyterian friend, and when he started drinking, that guy actually once he climbed a power pole and disconnected like a power cable when he was drunk and on different medicines.
That's worse than anything I've ever seen. I've ever known personally a Muslim to do. So.
Well, that's it. I've never known a Muslim. The Presbyterians that I've known are much more extremist. I don't know. I mean. That's kind of sad. And, I feel terrible for I tweeted this the other day. I mean, the fact that it gets me. You know how in the Japanese media, whenever they talk about IS or whatever, they call it Islam Koku, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So
they're calling it a nation state, and they're calling it Islam.
No, that's the name of that's the name of the terrorist group.
Well, yeah, but
the Islam, isn't it? They call themselves the Islam Nation, don't they?
That's what they call themselves, but geez, I mean, isn't calling a group like that Islamic kind of in and of itself? Surely that's blasphemous. I don't know. I feel kind of uncomfortable giving them the acknowledgement. I mean, I guess it's like North Korea.
No, it's a terrorist group. It's not a nation group. It's not actually a
But that's it. But that's it. But they're trying to, and I mean, they're not really. I mean, they can't call themselves religious. Apparently, this whole burning the pilot thing, criticized it because burning is a completely
not kosher, for sure.
it's a non-halal or non-permitted way of killing someone. Holy hell, is it your only problem with this? But you know.
Oh yeah, right, we talked about the show. We should talk about that just real quick. Let me tell you what my student said.
Yeah.
Goto, for those of you who don't know, there are two Japanese went over to, was it Syria? Were they in Syria?
Yeah, they were in Turkey and they crossed into Syria from Turkey. Okay. Yeah.
The first guy's name is Yuzawa, is that right?
Yukawa.
Yukawa, sorry, thank you, Yukawa.
And technically, he was gender identified as a woman. So
right.
That's why he changed his name to Haruna, and he castrated himself. Although he didn't actually do surgery or anything like that, but he just castrated himself and took a female identity.
Really?
So I'm not sure actually. So that's it. Everyone calls him a him, I guess, and I'm using him. I'm using the male pronoun, but I suppose technically.
Dressed like a man.
Well, he was halfway through it. You know, he was dressing as a woman, wearing makeup, but also selling guns to terrorists and fighting groups within Syria. That's why he went over there as part of a military consulting company.
He tried to make himself out to be a. He's like a little bit like stolen valor. He made himself out to be some kind of mercenary and.
Well, like, the most sympathetic descriptions I've heard of him describe him as, well, sorry, I'm saying him again, which maybe I should stop to. I'm going to get in trouble with some people we know.
I don't think that's common knowledge.
Oh, it's pretty common. It's common knowledge. But he was described as a lost soul. You know, he decided to kind of change his life and change his gender and go to Syria and start selling guns after a huge depression kind of bout that he had. And
okay.
So, you know, yeah, and in the course of that, he ended up in this situation, and frankly, you'd almost say it was almost like he went looking for this to happen to him. I mean, no one would ever want what happened to him to happen to him.
I think it's a bit disingenuous to use the expression he ended up in the situation. He kind of put himself in the situation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He went looking for it, pretty much. You don't go into a war zone, you know, with groups like that.
Which is why most of my students have no pity for him.
Yeah.
He's an idiot, and I could find no one to say, well, of course we're sorry he's dead, but, you know.
Yeah.
He was an idiot. That's what the basic consensus was, he's an idiot.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I've heard some people express some discomfort that perhaps it might be people being less, you know, cut up about him because of his gender situation. And no, I think that's not it, actually.
No, I don't think that's not at all.
I think it's the other. He made that's a neutral decision in my book, but he made some pretty bad decisions, like actually going into Syria and filming himself and posting videos on YouTube of himself firing AK-47s that he was selling to groups and stuff like that. That's just, you know, I'm sorry, but that's how that ends. And you know, then you have someone who appears to be a genuine, all-round humanitarian and nice guy who, it's being pointed out now, was actually ordered by Ministry of Foreign Affairs not to cross into Syria. Like, they knew he was going to do it, and they told him multiple times to stop it. So against, you know, advice, he went into Syria.
He was Christian?
Yeah. His church in Tokyo.
Right.
Was very much in the press when all this happened. His wife is apparently an executive in JICA, the Overseas Aid Agency.
Right. He has a newborn.
Yeah, his young kids. And maybe this is something with you as well, we can say, I don't know, I can still admire you got a newborn, but you're driven by this need to whatever, to help people, do whatever that you go and you still keep doing this job.
Like, I'm still trying to make drama videos, even though you should probably cut it out now that I have a kid. But
yeah, well, that's just it. Would you put yourself into that kind of danger when you're in that situation? Maybe if there's anything you can say Goto-san was irresponsible, you'd have to ask, why would you cross in on a rescue mission into Syria? Of course, it's a kind of a heroic and you know, admirable thing to do on some levels, but when you've got a family and a kid, at the end of the day, was it worth it for him to go in to try to rescue this guy who put himself there? Which sounds cold, but you know, but of course.
No, but everyone, well, not everyone. Actually, my students are divided on this because he seems to be a sincerely nice guy who's trying to do something good, but the other half are like, well, he was an idiot. He shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, well, the whole
more responsible.
You know, this is what I'm going to call the show tonight. I was stuck for a title. We're going to call this Jiko Sekinin because the whole Jiko Sekinin role has kind of come up again around this.
Let's explain that. Jiko Sekinin, Jiko, of course, refers to oneself, And
Yes.
sekin is responsibility. So
A big word in Japanese. It's a very significant, the concept of responsibility, not making trouble for other people, taking responsibility for yourself. It's kind of big in Japanese society, and frankly, it's kind of used as one of the society kind of pressures to pressure people to behave. I mean, I think one of the reasons Japanese are so law-abiding and the society is so safe overall, there's a strong sense throughout the society of this idea of sekinin, right?
right.
It's like this idea of not. I mean, when Yukawa died, his father went on TV, and apparently the Chinese were shocked to see that this father who should be grieving, who was grieving, the first thing he said was, "Minasan ni taihen gomeyaku o kakeshimashita."
I'm sorry to trouble everyone with
I'm sorry
my
that
son's terrible behavior.
my son caused everybody so much trouble. And it's funny, I mean, in a way, in Japanese, when you're listening to that in Japanese, that's a completely natural, kind of a thing to say in that situation. But, for people in other cultures, the idea that you could actually just be I'm sorry that my son has inconvenienced you by dying, it's kind of apparently shocked a lot of people in China, and with this as well. So the question came up with this guy. By the way, you need to talk for that to appear, although I don't think we need to show it.
Oh, really?
Much.
Well, going back to your claim, well, not claim, but you said that, I didn't know that he identified as a woman, and his name is Haruna. Did he change it?
Yeah, he changed it to Haruna.
It's a woman's name. I didn't even notice that. I didn't think about that. Why does Kenji Goto have 3 names? You know?
I don't know. That's interesting. That
Maybe it's a Christian name. Maybe the last name is a Christian name.
Maybe it's his wife's name. Maybe he's one of those guys who, in Japan it's not legally recognized that you have joint names, but maybe he's, maybe it's that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone explain that, the Jogo part. But Jogo is not a usual name that I know of.
Goto's pretty common. Yukawa's pretty common. All the other names are common, yeah.
But in any case, so there was this thing, and this goes back to the, original Gulf War, when there were these, these MPOs, these anti-war groups, and there was one called Peace Boat that was very big in Japan.
It's still around, Peace Boat.
Still around, but that group was very anti-Koizumi. They were very anti-Japan, providing aid and support for the Gulf War coalition. And, these were among the groups that were setting themselves into Iraq during the war while it was being bombed by America, against everyone's advice, don't go to Iraq right now. And in some cases offering, not the specific group, but there were groups that were people that were going in. And remember, there were lots of Westerners who were traveling there and volunteering to become human shields to protect the Iraqi people. And this was one of the groups that was kind of wrapped up in that kind of thing. And so the fact that these people kind of, directly against government advice or whatever, ostensibly to go on and help, help the people out, who are suffering in the war situation. But there are a lot of people who are saying, these people are kind of anti-Japanese government. They're in there, acting against the government's interests and against the government's advice being there. And, when these people got abducted by and held for ransom by these militant groups, Japanese government paid, and it's never been known how much the government paid. But unlike America, America doesn't negotiate with terrorists, is the idea. They probably do every now and then, but, but Japanese government, they negotiate and they pay ransoms. They do what you got to do to get the people out. But they did. But, these people got obviously released, and obviously a ransom was paid to these terrorist groups that were holding them. But it was kind of commented that these people themselves said they felt more traumatized coming back to Japan by the barrage of public criticism that they got for being so irresponsible by going into Iraq and allowing themselves to be kidnapped, that they actually felt more traumatized by the Japanese public reaction than they did by the terrorists that abducted them. But that's what the society here is like, and the whole Jiko Sekinin realm. Surely this is your own risk. Why are you causing us all so much trouble worrying about you when you were supposed to be there in the first place? This is your own fault. You should fix it. And Debbie Sukano.
Yeah, right, of course, the old woman.
the old woman who flies around on a broom. She's very good at that sort of thing.
She slapped one of her assistants for putting makeup on her or something. Slapped her really solid. Got in a bit of trouble for that a couple months ago. I like her.
The mistresses of former military dictators have a habit of doing that. Also, like, hey, she could be vice president of an airline. I don't know. I don't know. She strikes me as the type. But her and some others actually said at one point, well, maybe why are we trying to help this guy? Why don't we just this guy should be he should be forced to sort this out by himself? And a lot of people responded, oh, well said, good job.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm torn. I mean, I guess I appreciate he's trying to do the right thing, but I mean, he just had a kid. His wife is pregnant, and he just takes off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but he was already doing it. But this guy has apparently like books and videos and stuff already published about helping kids with Ebola in West Africa, about helping AIDS children in Rwanda, and this guy was going. And there is this thing as well, which I've got to say as well. And we know a few people that probably fit this description. The thing I really admire about there's a certain category of Christians. Maybe it's not just Christians, but in my world, it's there's Christians. These people who feel this kind of overwhelming drive to just live, frugally and travel around the world helping the most needy sort of people. There's that kind of thing which he seems to fit a certain profile for, of people who just decide to live their lives like that. And yeah, I don't know. It's a rare type of person actually, in any country. So yeah, being warned, and it was also very remarkable. And actually, I think Japanese were kind of touched by the sympathy from Jordan.
Oh yeah.
That came out for this. But you know what, as well? I mean, this whole thing.
Did you see the speech the Jordanians made regarding the pilot?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, obviously. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean the speech?
Just a minute, Yoko. I just heard someone in my house.
Yeah. Well, this could be interesting. This could be the first time. This could be the American government tracking him.
No, it must have been someone outside.
I was just going to say, it could very well be Mandy Murray's husband tracking you.
No, it's must have been walking by. Yoko's at her parents' house. I'm actually alone for the next month now, starting yesterday.
Yeah, and so since then you've started wearing a hoodie and dark sunglasses at night and baseball caps.
Yep.
You've pretty much
just for you guys.
You've taken up the life of crime. You've decided to set up a crime syndicate.
What does this say? When did you see the sex romp photos that happened in the church in New Zealand? Oh, I heard about that. Oh, you told me about that. You tweeted that out.
It wasn't in a church. The Kowhai, good New Zealand tree name.
In Christchurch, New Zealand. Sorry, not a church.
Oh man, well here you go. You're reading all this depressing news in the world, and so occasionally I like to just check in on New Zealand's biggest national newspaper just to see what's happening in New Zealand. And usually it's some guy in Parliament called someone else, goats behind or something like that. New Zealand news isn't that interesting, but I just like to check up every now and then. So here we are, the national newspaper. The number 2 national news story is the story that a co-working couple inside an office late at night decided to go on a sex romp, where apparently the lights inside were on, so they probably couldn't see outside, but they were right beside a bar filled with people that had a complete view of the entire scene. And apparently, everybody in the bar next door just started like tweeting and videotaping and posting on the internet. And the newspaper went and took comments and commentary and feedback, both from the people in the bar who said at one point there were 150 people watching and, quote, it was awesome, to the company where they asked later, did you know that people had sex in your office last night? And the boss of the company said, well, frankly, I don't want to comment because first we want to find out what this is all about. We don't think this is an appropriate thing to do in the workplace.
You got fired, right?
Well, I don't know, but the thing is, when you're in a place like Christchurch, everyone knows everyone, and their names were published and photos are all online. My dad's from there. I've got family down there, but I'm not.
Where did you grow up?
I'm an army brat, so I grew up everywhere.
No, I mean in New Zealand. What? Just a little time in Christchurch? No.
No, I never lived in Christchurch. I lived in Wellington for 2 years. I was in Papakura for a couple of years. I was in Waihuru for 3 years. I was in North.
The biggest city is Christchurch, though.
No, Auckland's the biggest one.
Oh, okay.
I was in Auckland for most of my high school. I was in Auckland the longest. I was there about 8 years, probably 6 years. So go down to Christchurch for vacations.
How many New Zealanders are in Japan?
How many there's about 3,000, 2,000.
So, are you embarrassed by this news that New Zealanders had sex publicly?
No, I think it's great.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, well, one, I mean, for all the troubles in the world, the fact that I come from a country where two people, shagging in a company at night, is the #2 national news story. And just the relief.
What was the #1 story?
Sorry?
What was the #1 story?
Oh, some politics, the prime minister, someone's mother a bastard or something. But, just and the relief finding out that it was a story involving sex from the South Island where both the participants were human. That was a huge relief. So it was a good story.
Yes,
it was a win.
I was surprised by that. No sheep were involved in it.
None. See the stereotypes. You try to stereotype us, and you see it's not true. Yeah, people with people all the time. Like it's totally normal.
Let me present something to you.
Hey, look at that. Mandy Murray has the numbers. Wow, she is tracking everyone. There are 3,109 people in Japan from New Zealand. So
I think she said, and Jason said there's 50,000 Americans.
Yeah.
But then Mandy says a number like 200,000 something.
Oh, Mandy is scary. She is. I feel like she's watching all of us.
Well, she has
the Muslims and the New Zealanders.
She has connections with the government, so.
Well, I mean, as a New Zealander, I share many things in common. We like lamb. Anyone who likes lamb, I'm good with. So, if that.
I like lamb.
Yeah, lamb is good. I don't understand why Japanese don't like.
Hey, there is a word for public shagging. There's a category in pornography for public shagging. You know? I don't remember what it is. Do you know it? In Japanese.
I'm sorry. Is that a question or is that just a statement?
No, I came across it once. I didn't know what it was. Someone said it, and I didn't know what it was. Someone typed it, and I didn't know what it was. And I looked it up, and there's actually a category. Like all these porn sites came up.
Well, I would never. Because
in Japan, it's a category. Like peeing in your panties is a category.
Well, as the resident expert on porn categories, I'll defer to your greater knowledge. But
I know very little. I don't read porn. I don't read porn. Is that the way you do it? You read it?
I've only heard stories about it from people. I'm crazy things. People watch that stuff. I don't know. What is the world coming to?
But no, here's the story for you. Okay, a few years ago, true story. And not a funny story.
That would make a change. Okay, yes.
A bit dark. There was a 11-year-old, I think she was 11-year-old girl in Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Was attacked and raped.
Well,
killed by a Peruvian.
I remember this. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
It was quite famous. It was a very sad story. And I read about it.
It's Japanese from Peru, right?
I don't know the details, but he was from Peru. They stressed he was from Peru. So I'm sitting in class one day, and it's between classes. I've got a 10-minute break or something. Yeah, 10-minute break. And one of the students walks up. He's actually a Spanish student, but his English is amazing. Oh, Predinator found it. It's Roshitsu. That's it. Maybe I found this because I was actually studying kanji, and I found the ro, and I was just looking up the other words for ro, because that's the word for open air bath too. The same kanji. Rotenburo.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Roshitsu is a public sex. Okay. Anyway, back to this. So I'm sitting in classroom, making a lesson, something, and this very, very educated Toyota executive student who speaks English perfectly, lived in America 5 years, came in and said, "Hey, sorry to hear about what happened in Hiroshima." And I said, "Yeah, that was pretty. I mean, it took me a while, Well, maybe he had to tell me." And I said, "Oh yeah, that was pretty sad." And he said, "Do you feel bad about that?" I said, "Well, of course I feel sad that she died. Because feel a little embarrassed, or I said,
this is the point.
I don't know why I would feel that way." He goes, "Well, did you know he was Peruvian, right?"
Oh no, actually, I heard that he drove a fucking Toyota. I mean, shit. I'd say this is why I drive Honda, dude. This is why I can never buy your company's dirty cars. So
I was like, yeah, but. What, am I supposed to feel guilty that the Peruvian did something? I was baffled by it. And then just last week there was a famous story about the Brazilian who goes into the emergency room and the doctor told him. So I get a comment from a nutty Japanese person who says, "Victor likes to talk about this, but he won't talk about the Hiroshima murder that happened 8 years ago." And I'm like, and I tried to explain to him. I said, You know, I don't know how. Unlike you, I don't feel any guilt for something that someone who was born in my country did. I don't know why I would feel embarrassed about that.
So this is the difference between you and me. See, when this kind of story happens in Hiroshima and you just like deny it and pretend it's got nothing to do with you, but when I find out that 2 people had sex in an office in New Zealand, I own
You feel like you were there. You feel like you
that's me. That was me. I am whatever that guy shaking in the bar was. That's me. So you know that's right.
Take full responsibility for his crime.
I take I take ownership of that, and you know. All the consequences.
Yeah, that was that's sad. Hey, I owe my Argonauts quite a bit of money, by the way.
Oh, well, you better look out because he's in the comments. He might see you.
I know. I gotta send you some money now. Things have finally calmed down. I owe him quite a bit of money. What our top selling T-shirt is the Zenzen Wakarimasen T-shirt.
Is that why you're wearing the dark sunglasses right now? You're worried he might be able to identify you in the video. Yeah. Oh, Raymond Gaijin, welcome. No, no.
Is he here?
No, I wish he was. No, I'm just saying with a cap. I thought you were roaming Gaijin.
GGAF captions are the best. I don't know what that is. Anyway, yeah. So I don't feel any guilt towards anything that Americans do or Peruvians do. Though I'm a bit embarrassed when Americans do something globally, of course. But I don't. You were embarrassed.
You were embarrassed by like the Patriots, like deflating all those balls.
I didn't even know what that meant. I don't watch football at all. I have no idea what. I don't watch organized sports. Except
wait a minute. Let's be clear on this. You're an American citizen?
Yes.
Now repeat that statement.
I do not watch organized sports.
Okay, I'm confused. We need to go back through this again. I thought that I mean, I must admit, obviously you're not the person to ask, but American football does confuse me. As someone, I'm a referee in rugby, you know.
Cheering for a team of people that have been bought to play in the same city confuses me.
Well, but that's European soccer is even.
Oh yeah,
that
I don't watch that either. So.
Well, at least they don't deflate the soccer balls. I don't even know what would happen if they deflated.
I don't even know why that's a big deal. Like, so what? Like, if everybody played with the same ball, what does it matter?
Yeah, well. For me, the question is, I don't know, I've watched a couple of Super Bowls, and that's the only way I can really judge American football. And from what I can tell from the rules seem to be that, you know, cameras always have to remain on the actors, the singers, and that wardrobe malfunctions are like apparently a penalizable foul. Mm-hmm. And the commercials have to be funny, and you know they have brief intermissions where they have some people running around, but it's mostly just a big Mariah Carey concert and. You know,
it was Katy Perry this year, I think. But
Katy Perry. Oh, that's right. I heard people ask if anyone deflated her before that show, but no, apparently she was okay.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I don't know. It's funny. I mean, I just like to watch sport being played. I don't really understand the Super Bowl. You know,
my Argonaut says the Super Bowl was great this year. So exciting.
Apparently, it was. It was like a last minute. They held them out. The Patriots won. I think. We're the last people who should be talking about the subject, obviously. But,
yeah. So yeah. I just can't care about organized sports.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
I like personal athletes. You know, personally, you know, if there's one athlete who's great, I like to watch him, but I don't care about the team at all.
If you weren't on that watch list that Mandy had, like at the start of this video, you're probably on it now.
Probably not.
Well,
my patriotism is being questioned as we speak.
Yeah. Next topic. We've been told next topic. So YouTube Space.
Oh, I got a topic. I got a topic you may not want to talk about, but it's actually more important. Awesome. No, it's not. Never mind. No, talk about Tokyo Space.
No. Talk about the topic I don't want to talk about.
No, you're really not going to want to talk about it. No. But I'll tell you something that's okay. Well, Tokyo Space first.
Okay, but you realize everyone's just going to be thinking, what is that topic that he doesn't want to talk about? It's intriguing. People are going to hang. Okay, I'll talk about the space is awesome. I've been to the space twice so far. When I was there, I got to.
Is that counting the time we were there together? Or?
No, that was. No, don't say that like it's a New Zealand bar incident type phrasing. Please, let's be clear.
You cheated on me. You've been there since then without me. It's horrible.
We were both dressed as priests. Everything was completely above board last time we were there.
I'm wearing our priest costume right here. Check it out.
Oh, that's our priest costume. Yes.
Shall I? Hold on.
Yeah, no, wait, I'll keep talking. You just take your clothes off for the cheap entertainment. So yeah, it was pretty awesome being there. It was good for hanging out in terms of it was pretty cool. While I was just walking around there was Sasaki Asahi, who was lovely, one of probably the top Japan makeup beauty sort of channel, and she's gorgeous as well. Just on top of that, and there was he said hello to her, which was nice.
You need to get a little meat on her bones, though. You know that.
Sorry.
Never nothing. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I totally missed that.
She needs to get some meat on her bones. She's so skinny.
Oh,
that's what models look like. Models are all super skinny.
Well, yeah.
She's gorgeous though. Yeah.
I also saw. Are you familiar with Aimi Sekiguchi?
Yes, she's great. I met her a long time ago when she was tiny.
Yeah, she's still pretty small. She hasn't gotten that much taller, but her channel's gotten very big. And she was actually shooting a video with the 3D doodling. And I looked up her channel later and I see she's made a bunch of videos of this where she makes stuff with a 3D. Like it's a pen that you can create 3D objects with. You can draw them. It's really, really cool.
Oh, really?
So she was shooting that. So it's kind of cool. I was just hanging out there with the beautiful people and being very, very awkward. And it was cool. And I'm getting the hang of using the space and using all the cinema cameras and equipment and stuff like that. And
do they let you use the cinema cameras? You got to bring your own.
No, well, so I brought all my own stuff, and that's how I was planning to do it. But I'm starting to realize that their stuff is all better, and if I actually stop talking and listen to them for a minute and let them show me how to use it, it's actually better to go in and use their stuff. And they finally convinced me on this last time. I think next time I'm going to use the green room. I'm going to do a green screen room.
Oh, great.
Recording there. I'm going to start recording in there.
If you have a good green room, then it's pretty easy.
Yeah, well, that's it. And, because I tried setting up, we had all the stuff, so I said, hey, why don't we just put a green screen behind us right now? And they said, well, the lighting's kind of crap, and it's not going to come out well. I said, it'll be fine, let's just go get it. So I put it in, and when I started playing with it, I almost got it right. But, yeah, it's really frustrating. It takes a long time to key it when the lighting isn't right. So that persuaded me, okay, I'm going to go and shoot some stuff. So I'm shooting stuff in my Japanese video series, which I'm going to start submitting stuff for it soon. I'm actually also learning After Effects at the moment. I'm playing with things like making new video titles and stuff like that.
What editor do you use?
Adobe Premiere. But I'm also...
You paid for that or are you renting it?
I paid for it. So, it costs a lot of money, but it's done.
$1,000?
Yeah, about that. I think when I started monetizing my channel, that was my present to myself, was that I got the Creator Kit, which includes Adobe After Effects and Premiere. And I've never learned how to use After Effects very well either, so I'm just learning how to use that. But you can do very, very cool stuff with After Effects as well.
I hear that, yeah.
Which I'm just starting at the moment, just with title animations and stuff like that. But yeah, I want to get better with After Effects as well. So, just class up the joint a little bit, right? I mean, this is actually pretty cool, and I actually quite like this background. And even the guy, he saw me, I was in that same studio that we used. And the guy's looking at me in this kind of empty new studio saying, dude, it looks a bit lonely. I'm like, please stop saying that, I know. But yeah, we got the idea. I think I'm going to use the green screen. But that was pretty cool. So yeah, I'm going to be going back in there. I'm probably going to set it up so I can go in there once a week. I'm just going to go and record a couple of videos each week in Japanese while I'm there. But I'll do a video about making videos there as well to show all of you guys. Plus, I'll probably, I can, every time I book the space, I can also book a production crew. So I'm thinking as well, once I get a little bit settled into my routine.
Really? They give you a production crew?
No. You have to have, in fact, what's the threshold? I don't want to say this wrong. You might have enough. It might be 100,000 or it might be more than that. Above a certain size, they'll give you a production crew as well. But
my God, I got to move to Tokyo.
Yeah. Well, I've got it and you don't. So yeah. But yes, I'm going to use it. But the idea is that I'm allowed to bring in my own truck of Mexicans, pretty much. Which immediately, when I said that on Facebook, Victor Gonzalez, Katsuno Kanto Kitsune, told me, well, I'm an actual Mexican, so will you take me? And I think I will. I'll do something like that.
He didn't get all upset and butthurt, right? He was cool. He was cool about it.
No, that's right. No, he's a good sport and he's a good guy. And so I think this is what I'll do when I get into a routine. I am actually, so many people are interested, and I'll come in and the thing is, whatever comes out from that session has to be on the person who booked it, has to come onto my channel. But for people who want to come and see what's available and what people like us can do there, that's what I'm learning at the moment. That's something, I want to share with people. So that'll be pretty cool. And definitely, I'll be able to. Next time you're in Tokyo, we can certainly. I mean, for the Hanami, maybe if you come in.
Well, I'm hoping to escape, parental duties that weekend.
But you kind of off parental duties anyway, aren't you? Because isn't your wife at the mother-in-law's?
Yeah, but that's February, all of February. The Hanami is April.
Oh, it's only for 1 month. In Japan, it's kind of, sometimes they go 3 months or 4 months or 6 months. You've only got the one, so only 1 month.
It's usually only 1 month from what I hear.
I mean, it varies from person to person. I know people who've gone 6 months.
Let's explain, like, someone was asking, I haven't had dinner, by the way, which explains my slurring now.
And your bad hair.
And my bad hair. But, yeah, I've got no wife to cook for me, so basically...
I've always got good hair. My hair is always perfectly...
So, what was the topic? Oh, yeah, my wife had the baby.
Is this the topic I don't want to hear about?
January 26th, no, that's something else. January 26th, and she got out of the hospital yesterday, finally.
Yeah.
And she went back to her mom's house. And she called me up, she said, I need 550,000 yen. So I said, okay. So I went to the bank and cleared it out and pretty much almost cleared myself up and gave her all my money. And apparently we're supposed to get some of that money back from the government, but I don't know when that's going to happen. Probably 3 months or so. And what else?
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the comments.
What else? Other major expenses? We bought a baby chair.
Sorry, 1 minute. I'm just looking at the comments, and at the moment, everybody in the comments has become Mexican. Mr. Quinnick is saying, "Sí, amigo, Manny Mears, I'll be a Mexican for you." Someone said, "I'm 45 minutes from
Americans are taking our jobs." That sounds actually Saudi Arabian, but anyway.
Dude, Jericho's gonna make beans on toast. This is awesome. I'm totally...
You got a staff here.
I do.
Oh, let me explain this. So, Hiko and I went to Tokyo.
Yeah.
Well, he was already in Tokyo, but I went to Tokyo and we pretended to be priests for a speech that we did for Megwin and Amanda.
This is so good to put on a watch list.
Yes, and that's why we're wearing. We got these Snuggies. What are they called? Snuggies, I think.
You're the Snuggie man.
He didn't want his, so he gave me his. So it's sitting on the couch. It's actually over there.
Yeah.
It's on the couch over there.
I don't want to know what you're doing with mine, but yes.
This is what it looks like now. It's just sitting on the couch. Yeah. So we created these white. We got these cheap white towels and painted red crosses on them, so we looked kind of like priests. And that was our skit. That was our little manzai for Megwin and Amanda. It was a lot of fun.
We actually gave them a wedding ceremony where we were both the priests.
Married them on stage, and it was fun. And people seemed to like it. They had a good time.
It's funny. It is a little bit intimidating coming out with a comedy skit wedding routine in front of a wedding for a famous comedian. But, but people got into it.
We pulled it off.
I was the tsukomi and you were the boke, which is the complete reverse of the normal situation.
Right. So we should wrap this up unless you've got the.
No, we do have to go. But I don't know. I always get more energized through our conversations, but I'm almost scared. I know I'm going to regret saying this. But what is that thing that I don't want to hear?
Well, I'll lead into it with something you can actually contribute to, because you may not want to contribute to the rest of it. But I was watching what was that show called?
Okay, I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry.
You do want to hear it. There's a show called Justified, and in the show, one of the heroes has a kid, and the bad guy says, "So, is it true what they say about having a kid? Having a child, it changes you?" And I was thinking about that and wondering, and I mean, I was extremely high when I saw my son for the first time.
Sure.
I was so high that even looking back at the video, I can't remember anything that happened during that time. It seemed like everything faded away, and I could only see my son.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like the Carpenters started playing and everything got like there was a vignette, kind of a frosty vignette.
Well, no Carpenters, but.
And then Kermit the Frog kind of popped up and he was playing a banjo. And...
I'm standing right next to the grandmother, my kid's grandma, right?
Yeah.
I don't even remember her being there, but of course I know she was there in my memory, right?
Yeah.
But so what do you think? Does it change you, that moment?
I think, you're probably kidnapped by aliens at that time. It's called missing space. It happens. It was probably missing time. Very inconvenient for them to do that to you at a time like that. But yes, I'm going with aliens.
Aliens? Okay. So of course, now that I'm a father and all that crap.
You're a father and all that crap, yes, indeed.
And I'm very happy to be a father. I'm ecstatic. I can hold my son for hours at a time, just doing nothing.
It's good for the muscles, I tell you. You know, that's a
Well, he
that's a
only
workout.
weighs 3 kilograms right now, so it's not a big deal.
17.2 kilos, dude. My son at the moment.
Really,
And
17.
he expects me to carry him like when he was like 300 grams, 3,000 grams.
How old was he when he was born? Do you remember?
Just three. In fact, I've got it on the piece of paper.
Oh, that's right.
Boom. He was 3,312. How big was Montego, Diego Montoya?
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 Montoya was 2,940.
Oh, win for New Zealand. Yes. Take that, Peru. So 3,312.
I am so embarrassed for my country.
Aren't you ashamed?
In an Indian accent for some reason. I can never do the proper accent.
Hey, there are lots of Indians in Peru. Although they're wrong. They're the Indians that confused Columbus. They weren't the actual Indians.
Okay, so here's the segue. Okay. So
Okay,
my
I love
wife
segues.
on the 4th day after having a baby, my wife is still she's still doing badly with the high blood pressure.
Yeah.
How old was he when he was born?
That's a trick question. In Korea, because in Korea they count from conception, they don't count from birth. You know
So
that
when
when you
you're
ask
born,
a
you're
Korean
1 or
age?
you're 0?
Yeah, I think you basically
You're
won. You're 9 months or whatever, but you're 1. Yeah, so all Koreans, if you ask them and they say they're 25, they're
That means they're
24, so they count up. It's very confusing.
Hmm.
But yes.
So my wife on the 4th day calls me at about 11 o'clock, and I'm actually making a video, and she's like, well, actually, she called me before that. She told me she might ask me to do this, but she said, please come and stay the night.
Yeah.
At the hospital.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a Friday night, and the next morning I have to get up at 6:30.
Yeah.
And go out drive an hour out to this city and do a business class, which I do like once a month on Sundays.
Right.
It happens to be the next day.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I know that she's having the baby blues thing, right?
Yes.
And it's completely illogical, but all the nurses know it's illogical, but they completely support her.
Right.
And of course, I'm going to go and I'm going to go sit in a chair.
Yeah.
With her all night, even though I'm going to be miserable the whole next day.
So selfish. So selfish.
That's fine. No, I mean, I know if I can go to sleep, but I figure I do this all the time anyway. Like half the time I'm doing the videos, so it's okay. So I think of it that way. No big deal. I leave. So I'm thinking about how sometimes people are a little bit crazy, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But we are sympathetic to them anyway, right?
Sure.
So
Forrest
this is the
Gump
part you don't want to hear. This is the part you don't want to hear.
All right.
Ready? 1 year ago, and I don't know about this video, but 1 year ago, a really nice guy, great vlogger named Quick Rhino made a video saying he was bipolar.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't really know about this video. I've never seen this video, but apparently it's out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know, he made a video last week saying he quit YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Did you know about this?
No.
Okay, well there you go. So, and he said he quit YouTube, and he blamed one other person. It wasn't me, but he blamed another person on this completely.
Yeah.
He said, "It's all your fault. I'm quitting, and fuck you, and this is the last video. I'm never signing in again."
So was he blaming like "Give me a flake man" as opposed to "Give me a break man," or perhaps
No,
it was?
he's not blaming either of us. He's blaming a good friend of mine.
Maybe you don't say it. Yeah, as well. I don't know.
No, I won't say it.
Yeah.
But it was I watched his video, and I thought it's quite unfair to the other person. Here's the thing, I'm torn. Yes. Because I started thinking about, okay, basically all human beings are mental cases to some extreme, or to some degree, not to extreme, some degree.
Yeah.
All of us have some kind of mental cases to some degree, or mental synchronicities maybe? No, synchronicities?
We're all a little crazy to some extent.
We're all a little crazy to some degree, right?
Everyone's got a little bit of every problem.
Yeah, so if we're aware of this, like I'm completely sympathetic to my wife's crazy, 1 day or 2 day, I'm crying for no reason, come hold my hand.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. So why shouldn't we do that? Why shouldn't we do that with people that we know have certain problems, right? Mm-hmm. So at the same time, I'm halfway torn that way, and half of me is saying, hey, dude, you've been on YouTube for years. You've got 6 million views. You've got lots of hate. Why is this suddenly now an issue that you're being silly? So I'm torn between that. And I made a video that I didn't really want to. I made a video just without, not really planning it. I just basically train of thought, blah blah blah, and I only uploaded it to my Patreon just to show it to somebody, because I figured if I show it to somebody, I'll get out of my system, right?
Just see if you could lose some money out of it, yeah.
No, my Patreon subscribers, supporters, they were very, very helpful. They were very well. Actually, you're on the list. You had access to that video.
Oh, I should probably have it. Yeah.
I'll have a look. I put a lot of stuff up there that stuff that like so videos or things that I'm not sure I really want to show everybody.
Yeah.
My son, actually, tonight's video is my son's first bath.
Oh, very good. Congratulations.
Which is a pretty cool video. But it's 17. You'll understand it because you speak Japanese, but
yeah.
But anyway, it just got me to thinking about what part of me in the old days would have just gone after Quick Rhino saying, dude, you're a dumbass, you're stupid, buck up, throw some balls. But now half of me is thinking, no. Everyone knew that well, not everyone, but many people knew he had bipolar disorder. He admitted to having this.
Yeah.
So shouldn't we consider that? I mean, shouldn't that weigh heavily when we're dealing with him?
Yeah.
And not just him, but everybody.
Two things. One, Nick of Earth, I think he hit it on the head. He says, yeah, thanks a lot, Obama, about this. And the other thing, I don't know if you're familiar with Stephen Fry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Of course.
He used to be part of the comedy duo with Hugh Laurie, who's done very well in America, obviously. The guy's a genius, I mean, both of them were like, along with Blackadder, with Mr. Bean, they were like at the comedy troupe at Cambridge University. These are kind of brilliant, smart, eloquent guy. And the thing with Stephen Fry is that he also suffers from, and I've lived with people actually with that condition.
Really?
So I can testify firsthand. It's a real thing. And it's really.
Have you ever told that story online? No.
Well, not in detail. I alluded to it because actually I just realized when we had Henna Gaijin on, when we had Alistair on the other night.
Oh, I missed that completely. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was having a baby that night.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's right. You weren't on that one. I mentioned with him actually. We suddenly realized that we were living in an apartment with a guy like that. We actually had to call the police on him once, and he was taken out of our apartment in a straitjacket, literally in a straitjacket.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, so there is that. But Stephen Fry talking about depression, because he had things as well. Now I've seen this happen in all sorts of cases in Japan and New Zealand, where when people get depressed, they disappear. And I've been on IT projects where the project manager just disappeared one day. No one could track him down. No one could find him. And all of a sudden, 3 months later, one day, it was like he did a Costanza. One day he got to quit. He quit. He goes out. He disappears, and then 3 months later he just shows up at work like nothing ever happened. He was sitting at the desk where like 3 months after he had been declared a missing person.
Wow.
In case like they do this sometimes. They disappear. Stephen Fry was in the middle of a major production or some sort of and he disappeared for a long time. And they found him naked and trying to commit suicide somewhere.
Oh really?
And he talked about the depression thing, and and he said, and him more than anyone, he's a smart guy, and he believes that you should be able to just think it out or be able to toughen up. And, he has that sort of thing, and it's really hard to describe to people the mental state that you're in when you're depressed. Right. But he put it, it's the best description I've ever heard. I mean, he's very good at describing this. He said that basically depression, like that type of depression that makes people shut down their YouTube accounts and their social media and disappear. Right. And we've seen people, like other people as well, who I don't know if this is their specific problem, but their behavior is consistent with this. But when you get into that real deep state of depression,
we shouldn't be diagnosing people we don't know.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But he said it's like rain. It's like weather. Mm-hmm. And no matter how much you tell yourself it's going to be a sunny day today and I'm going to make it different, I'm going to turn this around, you open up the window and it's raining. Right. And you just can't help the fact that it's raining, and the fact that it's raining just affects everything that you do, no matter how much you fight against it. Right. You still open your eyes, and it's still raining. And it's kind of, it's not something you can sort of change, and that's the thing, as much as, and hell, I mean, I can relate to that myself to a certain extent from my early 1 or 2 years in Japan, when I went through a couple of really big kind of things. And I remember I need more than anyone. I don't ask anyone for help with anything, and I deal with all my shit myself. And that's exactly what that time was like. And I don't have that condition, but I've been in that kind of situation where, you know, I was literally fighting every day to make myself positive. Where it was kind of, it's against, you know, for no rational reason, that's how the world was. So again, you know, when you have a guy who's feeling like that and he's got that sort of a condition, I guess that's the thing. You can say, guy, snap out of it, you know, like take a look at the world. There are worse things in the world, and he can probably hear that, and he can probably even understand that that's true, but he can't internalize it because he just can't, you know, he's just, that condition makes that impossible to do. Now, I guess that's what you have to take into account. I am the last person to give advice on how to deal with these. I'm the worst person to come to, you know, with issues like that. But it's funny, that description by Stephen Fry of what it was like was the most vivid and easy to understand and relate to. Oh, that's what they're going through. That's why they always say, don't tell people to snap out of it, or don't tell them, you know, fight, you know, do your best and get out of it, or whatever, you know, how that's counterproductive. But that's the best explanation of why that's true that I've ever heard, you know. So, yeah, you have to, I don't know, in the end of the day, you can't really do anything about it for the guy, you know, other than, I mean, you can always offer to be supportive or whatever, but the other problem as well is that, then again, I'm the last person that, if you've got a condition like that you should come to. And again, you don't want to get drawn into that at the same time.
How old were you when you felt when you feel like you could?
I look back now, and it was I probably got a bit depressed probably at the end of my first year in Japan, so when I was about 24. And that was, you know, I broke up with my fiance. I was like, you know, I was crashing out at work. I wasn't doing well. I was thinking, you know, do I just give up everything in my life at the moment, which was setting up in Japan, and do I leave or not? And I was telling myself every day I'm going to turn this around. And objectively, you know, and I was doing okay, but I was, you know, in a really, really just difficult time. And yeah, you know, it's funny. And at the time, I refused to acknowledge myself or to allow myself to even think that this was a condition with me. This is all external, and this is me. I should be able to turn this around. But looking back and hearing about this from other people who actually have a, you know, diagnosable condition of bipolar disease and so on, yeah, it resonated. It made a lot of sense.
At the time, you were accusing your...
No, I wasn't externalizing anything. I was in a situation, but it was literally like, well, truth was, I was honestly, objectively really struggling at the time, and I did have objective reasons to actually be kind of down. But at the same time, I was just trying to, you know, knuckle down, focus. I'm going surfing tomorrow. I'm going to do my work today. I'm just going to, you know, I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to worry about the other bullshit. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do this well and focus and be, you know, not get, you know, upset or sad about the other stuff. But it's like rain, you know, it's just there. And no matter how much you try to shut it out and pretend, you know, you walk through the rain saying it's not raining.
I think it's great. That's a great analogy. My analogy, the way I dealt with it was thinking of it as a cold that you will get. You're going to get this cold, and you have a cold, and it's going to go away someday.
Yeah.
Just hold on. And
that's
just know that it's going to go away, and it will.
Well, that's kind of it. That's kind of it. And sorry, Mandy's saying end on a happier topic, and yeah. So don't worry, we'll come back to vaginas or something in a second. But yes.
Mandy wants to talk about vaginas? No.
No, she just wants us to be happier. Don't worry. Well, depression like this video ends at some point.
No, but that is a happy topic. The fact that you know it's going to pass and that.
And you come to an understanding with it.
It's the weather and
you know it's kind of funny as well because I mean I'm someone that overthinks everything. I'm the sort of person that overthinks everything, you know, and I self-analyze and I overanalyze stuff. And because of that, I find it kind of hard to accept that your mental state can dictate the way that you think about things. You know what I mean? You always like to think, if I'm in control of anything, surely I'm in control of my mind. But it's true, and it's not just something like this, like depression, for example. I mean, it's true if you get drunk, or it's true if hormones, and this is also what your wife is experiencing, right? I mean, the hormone, you know, just hormones.
She's over now. It's just that one day, but still.
But it's a natural condition that women go through after birth, and it's got to do with all the mess of, you know, all the post-birth hormones and stuff like that. That, you know, it's actually probably more common than not that women get into, you know, depressive phases after birth as well, and that's something that, you know, to different degrees. Some have nothing, some have really deep ones, but they've just got to go through. But it's kind of funny. You always
have extreme ones. They kill their kids. They try to commit suicide. Well,
and you know, but point being, you don't like to think that your hormones, that chemicals inside you, can dictate what Mr. Brain is doing, but it's actually true. You know, it's kind of, yeah, people have these illnesses where people can't help how they behave like that, even if they can figure out objectively that it's silly that they're leaving YouTube because of this one guy, or whatever. And it's the same with you're going to have to deal with having having your wife. And there are things like menopause. There are things like the birth thing.
That's coming. I've had my boss went through menopause years and years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's an experience.
But that as well. So I don't know. It's always like. I guess you have to be considerate of other people. It doesn't necessarily excuse people acting like arseheads sometimes. I don't forgive them necessarily, but at the same time, you can at least understand that, well, maybe this isn't really them at the moment, and maybe this is just something that they can't help doing. So you just kind of have to weather the storm a bit, and that's part of, living with anyone for a long period of time. If you're living with them or working with them, whatever, and they have things like this, sometimes there's nothing you can do for them.
I've dealt with people like that before. And they've come back like months later, and say, "Hey, I apologize." So it's not like you're not above, or you're not incapable of seeing your own position later. But
well, by the way, I'm just noticing. I just want to shout out credit to a couple of people in the comments here. I mean, so we got Ben Duncan and Nick.
Yeah, Ben Duncan. Good comments from him.
And they're both saying that, they've had this thing going on. Some people, obviously, I'm sorry, some people are not comfortable about us talking about this topic. You said I wouldn't like this, but no, I'm totally with this because
Who's not comfortable?
There are a couple of people who aren't comfortable with this as a topic, and there's some people saying, no, you treat this like a taboo and it makes it worse. It's good that we can talk about it. No, I think at the end of the day, I'm the last person to give it. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm the last person to give advice or anything around it. But in terms of understanding it and understanding that it's something that, one, can happen to anyone. Two, it's something that I more than anyone like to think I'm completely in control of this, but I know that sometimes I'm not. And it's the same for other people. And, you have to take that into account with how you deal with people and, how you understand them and support them. But, geez, everyone gets something, and, it's not... it's, it happens to everyone. And you're gonna deal with a bunch of it, dealing with post-birth stuff. That's a big part. I mean, the first year or two, by the way, frankly, and I hate to give you the heads up on this, that can be a pretty bumpy ride the first year or two after birth. And as well, I also wonder if things with that, like specifically with like the hormone thing and the kind of, there's got to be an evolutionary thing around that there's got to be some sort of purpose or function.
Reason for that? You think so?
Some sort of evolutionary benefit to having. The fact that the woman is kind of drawing in, the fact that she kind of, is suddenly becoming more critical and, making the husband more intimidated about going out drinking or something like that, maybe that serves a function of keeping him closer and looking after the kid for that time or whatever. I mean, it also puts a lot of strain on a lot of marriages during that period, but at the same, I don't know. But yeah, there is definitely, separate to that issue that you're talking about with the YouTuber, this is something in a different sort of way, we're all going to have to face. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, true. So what's going on next week? I guess it's my turn next week.
It is your turn next week. I'm still trying to get Danny Chu. We're probably not going to get him in time for next week. I would like to get Anthony Joe on. Everyone go and check out Inigo, every Friday there's a new video going up on that channel. The last one's awesome. The next one is going to be German female pro wrestler and Japanese female pro wrestlers. So that's going to be awesome.
Does he have 2 videos out now?
Yeah, he put a second one up last week, which is a sword maker and a tatami maker.
What's that right now then?
It's really good. I mean, the comments were people saying like, "I feel guilty watching this for free," which sums it up. I think
that's great.
Border skills.
Hey, what's your opinion on releasing the baby's name online?
Yours?
Your opinion.
I personally, and we talked about this offline before the show in the preparation notes, and the idea, there was an idea given in that conversation of just allowing anyone to give any name that we like in referring, and I actually like the idea of, I keep saying it wrong. It's not good if I say it wrong. It's Diego Montoya, right?
Yeah, Diego Montoya. Yes.
Montoya. So for me, I'm just going to call your child Diego Montoya, whether
I like that name. That's a good name.
Or he likes it or not. Because I think that is an awesome name and that's an awesome movie, and if your son can grow up to be like that character from The Princess Bride, you'll be fine.
But for that name to be effective, someone has to come and kill me, so then he can go and say, "You killed my father.
Well,
I've come to kill you. Prepare to die."
Well, that's just an unfortunate consequence.
I guess I've got to accept my destiny, you know.
That's a cool name. I mean, Ben Duncan is already saying Bocephus. So,
Bocephus is good. I like Bocephus.
So, personally, I'm kind of cool with that. I think that works. It's up to you. It's totally up to you. I like just calling. In New Zealand, it's kind of funny. I mean, I like to make a joke about how unimaginative New Zealand people are because we really are the least imaginative country in the entire world.
Really?
You know, for naming stuff. We are the worst country in the world. There is no country worse than New Zealand. We have 2 islands.
Can I ask you a question? This is a stupid question. Is there a place called Zealand somewhere?
Yes, there is. There is. It's a shitty island. I'm sorry. It's a lovely island in Denmark. I mean,
Really?
of all the places to renew that they picked this place, but it was perfect for the country.
Inigo Montoya.
Inigo Montoya. That's it. Jeez. Thank you, Chilling Cancer. Inigo Montoya. That's your son from now on for me. Inigo Montoya. In the biggest cartoon comic strip ever in New Zealand is called Foot Rot Flats, and the lead character is a sheepdog on a farm, and the dog's name is Dog, and that is very New Zealand. And I've just decided online, you know, my son, I just call him Lad or the Lad, and I'm cool with that. You know, everyone knows what that means. I don't know. I don't feel like you need to volunteer unnecessary personal information. That's just my philosophy. We've talked about this. I'm more conservative about this than you. So entirely up to you. But for me, I see it as a creative opportunity.
Yes.
So you know, I think it's actually.
Well, you know what I decided already. So.
King Kong.
Little Godzilla, Baby Godzilla, whatever you want.
Yeah.
I will tell you guys. I will tell you something funny. My parents. We offered to give my dad the choice of middle name, and everyone. All of my brothers and sisters, they all said Xavier was a great name.
Well, for a start, the problem with Xavier is that there's like 10 different ways to pronounce that, and the funny thing is that every single one of the ways to pronounce that name are wrong. There is no correct way to pronounce that name.
Well, here's the problem with it. The other problem is maybe you might not get this because I didn't get it, and only Japanese people get it. There's another problem with it. Can you guess? Can you imagine?
Xavier.
There's a very Japanese reason why that's a terrible idea.
Xavier, that name?
Yeah.
Xavier. I don't know.
Francisco? Does that ring a bell?
Francisco Xavier?
Yes.
No.
He was the first Jesuit priest to Japan.
Right. Okay. So he is one of the guys who ended up being
Spanish or Portuguese. I think it was Spanish.
No.
And if it's like giving your son the name Ben Franklin or Abraham Lincoln, it's like, okay, you're thinking a little too highly of your son, you know. He would be bullied. Everyone says, "Oh, you're just putting a target on your son if you name him that."
I think you could do worse. Well, I wouldn't even.
From a Japanese point of view, everyone I thought it was fine, but every person I've asked said, "Oh, that's a terrible idea. That's a disaster."
That's funny. My wife. Oh God, I'm so tired. Yeah. So my wife is a huge soccer fan. She's a supporter of Liverpool Soccer Club.
Right.
For some reason, she insists it's got nothing to do with an ex-boyfriend. I don't care. That's fine. At the time that my son was born, the star striker of the team was a Spanish guy called Fernando Torres.
Mm.
And she's such a fan, and she was saying, you know, it'd be great. Wouldn't it be so cool if we had a son called Fernando? And I just say, honey, people are just going to ask. Honey, people are just going to ask questions that I won't be able to answer if our son is called Fernando. And besides which, to top it all off, you know, Fernando, when my son was 1 year old, ended up transferring to Chelsea, which would have made it unthinkable anyway. So I pointed out to her it was good we didn't call him that. But yeah, I don't know. Borrowing names can be a dangerous thing, obviously.
Yeah. That's a pretty funny story though.
And we used to have a pool guy called Fernando. Whatever happened to that guy?
He's a character from an SNL skit too, I think. It doesn't matter how you feel; it depends on how you look. That's all that matters. Isn't his name Fernando too?
SNL wasn't on in New Zealand, so I'm not up on all the skits on that. So yeah.
Yoko doesn't like Woody; she likes Buzz. I joked to my wife. I said, "Let's make his middle name be Buzz," but Anyway, we're going to wrap up. You're exhausted. I still got a... I'm putting out an Eric Surf 6 video tonight, so...
Yeah. I will continue with Project Make Victor Jealous at the YouTube space, and hopefully there'll be some output from that soon. And
yes, well, that jacket's one thing that makes me jealous already, so...
Yes, these are really good jackets, by the way. These are good. I mean, see, this isn't like printed. This is like embroidered by like old Mexican ladies.
Yeah.
This stuff doesn't come off, so it's good.
They sent me one.
Oh, that's right. This is an awesome jacket.
And it was too small, so I gave it to Tomoko. And it's too big for her, so she might give it to Regan. So
you can hand it down to Inigo one day.
We'll see.
Anyway, so yes, we should go.
Right, I'll see you next Wednesday. I'm sorry, I'll see you Sunday night on Tokyo Tonight.
Well, that's right. I'll see you soon anyway. And yeah, best to the family. See you later.
Thanks. Good night, everyone.
Peace. I could do this like for the next 10 minutes.
Really?
I can make like a one of those GIFs, and it's GIF. It's not GIF.
Are we off yet?
No. I'm still doing this.
So
adios. See, Tokyo Dog, he's making a serious play for becoming a member of my crew. He's staying solid with the Spanish language.
He's a smart man. He knows how to steal a job. So
Rhyming Gaijin, we want you on, by the way.
He friended me immediately.
Who did?
Like on Facebook.